Dirty Sports 738. We're live on YouTube in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Los Angeles, California, Joey. No chill, pray now.
Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, dude. How you feeling? I know you got a little surf in this morning.
I feel fantastic, man. I'm having a hell of a day already and just got started. And I have I went out, had a surf, ding, and then went and had an epic breakfast order. I just really feel like I killed my breakfast game today. And then I'm going to play golf this afternoon after Dirty Sports is over. So, I'm doing the California triple. A little surf, sports pod, golf. Let's go.
Some white privilege shit right there.
Some white privilege shit. I got a dirty matcha latte.
And holy white person, bro.
I got a dirty matcha latte, and then I got oatmeal. I couldn't decide. Do I go like egg sandwich? Do I go... try to be healthy. Whenever I surf, I try to be a little healthy. So I got oatmeal. And then I was like, throw some bananas in there, throw some chia seeds in there, throw the raisins in. But then I was like, but I still need savory. And I was like, and you know what? Just hit me with a side of bacon. Like the best of both worlds. Matcha and coffee.
Well, you need some protein.
Sweet and savory. Yeah.
Get some protein in there.
I was on the road with Eddie one time. And, I love bacon. And Eddie, when we got to Arizona, he bought a ton of bacon. I was like, bro, I thought you were like Mr. Healthy. And he's like, bro, bacon's great for you. And I was like, listen, I don't even want to hear anymore. I'm just going to trust you. And from now on, I'm going to eat bacon guilt-free.
I don't know if it's great, but I don't, dude, I don't know anymore. They're always
cholesterol's a sham. I was like, okay.
Well, they're always changing.
Right.
Everything.
And that's why Eddie's Mr. Health. I was like, I don't even want to know. Don't update me if it changes. I'm taking your eat a pound of bacon and an avocado every day to heart. I'm just going to do it every day. Fine. Let's eat bacon.
The problem is it's like anything. You had the food industry in cahoots with doctors or scientists to create things like the food pyramid, which was just wrong. And then people were eating wrong things for you.
Absolutely not the pyramid to follow. The only pyramid to follow is John Wooden's pyramid of success, which avocados are also on, in case you were wondering.
So
diligence, hard work, courage, avocado.
I
throw down that bacon.
Every time I wear my tie-dye Bill Walton Pyramid of Success shirt, my nephew, one of my nephews, who's 4.
What's LSD?
Well, he always points to Bill Walton on it. He goes, who's that? I'm like, it's Bill Walton. Learn it. Yeah. Well, I'd be curious what Bill would have to say about the Sixers and Doc Rivers and some of these discussions, which we're about to have. Ben Simmons. I think we might be at this reset button for the process for Philadelphia.
It's hard to say that though. They were the 1 seed this year. I know they're not playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. So what does that mean? But they were, the process has led them to being the 1 seed. And I know they made, they got just as far in the playoffs when they weren't the 1 seed and when they didn't have Doc Rivers and whatever, but I don't know. Resetting is huge. That's a huge call.
It is, but
do we want to start with Doc Rivers or do we want to start with Ben Simmons? Because I have a lot of thoughts on Ben Simmons, but my Doc Rivers at this point, and I've gotten literally a dozen messages since the game ended. Oh, here we go. Joey No Chill Rant. Destroy Doc Rivers for me. Kill Doc Rivers. I'm like, I don't know what else
there's nothing
say. Yeah. I have been riding the SS Doc is overrated. I've been captaining that ship through the 7 seas for the entirety of our podcast, basically. Like, I feel like I've said everything I need to say about Doc Rivers being overrated, being the Dave Roberts, and Doc Rivers is the Dave Roberts of basketball and vice versa. And, just he's a good guy. He's a good motivator. He's a player's coach, but he's not an X's and O's guy. And I don't know. Go back to the million episodes where I ranted on Doc Rivers. Put in Dirty Sports, Joe Prano, and Doc Rivers into Google and enjoy that. I've already said it all.
Yeah. Well, how about I do this then? Let me piggyback that. And I've agreed with you. I've been a lot less vocal, but let me piggyback it with, me and my dork stats I like to bring in. The numbers don't lie on Doc. And the numbers didn't lie last year, and they didn't lie the year before. So we're actually year by year adding to his resume of disappointments and mediocrity when it comes to the playoffs. Not just mediocrity, but losing. And I'll hit everybody with a few stats that I saw that was being posted on Twitter after the game last night. We'll start with ESPN stats and info. This is a great one to start with. Doc Rivers has 29 losses with a chance to clinch a playoff series, the most losses by any head coach in NBA history. Once again, 29 losses with a chance to clinch a playoff series. This is a staggering one following it in the same tweet.
And the 29 when you're clinch a playoff is like, obviously they didn't lose 29 series. They weren't 29 like game, series ending losses. But when you're in the playoffs also, when you have a chance to close out a team and you don't, even if you eventually close out that team, it hurts you. There's so much to the process of winning a championship. When you have a team against the ropes, end their life.
Yeah, I agree. So his 341 win percentage is the worst all time among coaches with 20 plus games. So this is talking about
playoff win percentage.
Yeah. His 341 win percentage is the worst all time among coaches with 20 plus games.
If your playoff winning percentage
is 34%,
is lower on average than, a solid Tony Gwynn season, you're not a good coach, guy.
Yeah, let me repeat that. He's winning 34% of his playoff games. Yeah. Let's just end the argument.
It basically means he's losing series 4-2.
Exactly. So here are some specific instances of Doc coughing up his 9th series lead. He has blown 9 series leads, guys. 9. From 0-3 to last night. And here's what's crazy, which makes it even worse for him, in my opinion. Of those 9 series playoff leads that he has blown, he's done it with 4 different teams. So it doesn't matter where Doc goes. He's going to blow the series. It doesn't matter whether he's in Orlando,
and
Boston.
the series lead, that's an interesting stat. Again, when you look at it deeper than the surface. So because we talked about it, it's hard to say reset because you're the 1 seed, right? But this is what Doc Rivers does. He's a great motivator. He's a great guy. He's a player's coach, blah, 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 blah. He's good at the long haul, right? If you have good athletes and you can keep them motivated and you keep them whatever, you can win a lot of games. So the majority of his seasons, he's probably a top half playoff team. Yeah. So when you are a 1 seed, a 2 seed, a 3 seed, you're going to get a couple games at home to start a series. And you're going to win a game at home. You're going to win 2 games at home. And then you're going to blow the series. This is how you end up blowing leads. It's like you get a head start on these guys with a couple home games, and then you can't coach your way out of a paper bag. And they come back on you and you lose.
I totally agree.
9 times.
9 times. And we talk about, so think about this. Phil Jackson has more world championship rings than he has. Like Doc's almost equaling the championship rings that Phil Jackson has in blowing series, which is crazy to me. We talk about athletes being clutch and when the crunch time, happens, who performs, who lives up to it, who makes the clutch shot, who makes the clutch pass. We never talk about the coaches for some reason, which is interesting because this shows it when crunch time matters. And like you said, Joe, he's getting a high seed. He's spotted home games. But when the going gets tough, when we get to game sevens or we have a 3-1 lead or a 2-0 lead, Doc wilts. He just does.
So here's the thing. I kind of disagree with you because I don't think he's any better at coaching otherwise. Like, it's not like he's changing his coaching style. It's not like he's suddenly panicking. I just think he's not a good strategic basketball coach.
In-game coach.
Yeah. And so over the long haul, when you're like motivating guys on back-to-backs, when you're motivating guys playing against a team that's on a back-to-back, when you're, you have to keep your team playing well on a road trip, on a homestand, like all the stuff that goes into coaching basketball, like on a season-wide thing, he's great at because he's a good guy. It's hard to criticize Doc Rivers as a person. And I know you watched the post game and want to talk after about how these guys aren't critical of them. It's hard to be critical of Doc Rivers because he's a great dude.
But we can separate the person from their job.
Right. But I'm saying that great dudeness helps him to be a great regular season motivator and a guy who brings team together and a guy who's, talk about every team has to have chemistry and the coach is going to be the top of the chemistry pyramid. He's great at that. He's just a terrible basketball X's and O's guy. And when you get into the playoffs and everything's tighter and you're not winning games on chemistry and winning games on motivating through a back-to-back or taking advantage of another team on a back-to-back, you're playing every other day against the same team in a series, and they're coaching for you every day, and you're coaching for them every day. They're making adjustments, and you're not, because you're not a good X's and O's basketball coach.
Yeah.
The end. So it's not like, oh, he chokes. He doesn't choke. He just is in over his head when it comes to playoff basketball.
That's a fair point. So a couple more things. Since he left the Celtics 8 seasons ago, think about this. He's never made the conference finals since he left Boston. He coached Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan in their prime together on the Clippers.
Which, look, they should have played in the conference finals, but also there's issues with that chemistry, that team too, but for sure, a good coach could have gotten that team to
that's all I'm doing. I just want to list some players he coached together in their prime. Obviously, Kawhi and Paul George last year, and now this year, Embiid and Ben Simmons. Now it is interesting. Obviously, we'll discuss Ben Simmons, but I just want to list some of the players that he's had. To me, the last 2 playoffs are basically the barometer that shows his coaching career in a nutshell. Last year for the Clippers, game 5 blew a 16-point lead. Game 6 blew a 19-point lead. Game 7 blew a 12-point lead. So the last 3 games where they can close out, he blows double-digit leads.
Because he's not a good coach.
Yeah.
Now, in that regard, he's not a good X's and O's coach. It's a game of runs. He doesn't know what to do about it. He doesn't know when to call timeouts. He doesn't know when to draw up a play. He doesn't know it. He just gets out coached in the playoffs because that's when good coaches, that's who gets to the playoffs is good coaches. And then they're better than him.
And he followed up this year. Game 4, the Sixers blew an 18-point lead. We all know the infamous 26-point lead blown in game 5. And last night they lose at home while Trae Young shoots. This was crazy to me to think this. Trae Young shoots 5 of 23 and they somehow win. That's nuts.
That reminds me of something. What does that remind me of? What'd Kobe go for in the finals?
8 of 24. 8 of 24.
8 of 24. But that was against the Celtics. Wait. Oh, wait. That was the Doc Rivers Celtics. Crazy.
Great correlation right there. That's a great correlation. 2-star.
He's unable to take advantage of when the other guy's not even showing up.
Yeah, 2-star players have awful games, and he still is losing
in closeout games.
And I told you when you alluded to it, I watched the whole post game show on TNT, and I love that crew. It's the best crew in sports. All sports, of all commentary, it's the best crew. Not a single one of them brought up Doc. Not a single one of them. And it's like, guys,
he's a good guy. He played in their era. Basically all of them, right? Kenny, Shaq. He definitely crossed over with Charles. He definitely crossed over with Kenny. He was there in Shaq's early years for sure. He's a great guy. They like him. He's probably fun to hang out with. They all golf. Like, again, it's hard to be critical of Doc Rivers as a person. And who's being critical of him as a person? And I get that when you have relationships like that, it's hard, Kenny doesn't want to go see him at the golf course and be like, man, you ripped me a new asshole. But at the same time, it's like, you guys are also like Shaq will be there and be like, hey, yo, if I was in the locker room with Ben Simmons, I'd put him in the toilet. I'd give him a swirly. I'm Superman and he can't score. I'm putting him in the toilet. I'm flushing him. And you're like, what about Doc Rivers can't coach his way out of a paper bag? He's a good guy. I like him.
Yeah. I agree, Matt. Like
Doc Rivers is my kryptonite. I'm powerless around him.
I'm to the point with him. None of the regular season, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't, any sport, it almost doesn't matter. It's what you do in the.
You got to get in, and you got to have a good seed helps. So that's the issue with Doc Rivers. Teams bring him in, he makes them better, but they're never going to close out because he's a bad X's and O's coach. Like, dude, look at. I know I always make the comparison, but you look at baseball, like if Dave Roberts doesn't, if that was their window, if they win one championship in a Mickey Mouse season with the payroll, with the players, getting all those World Series, it's going to be the same thing as Doc Rivers. You're going to be like, what did you failed. You're a failure. And that's the point is like, you can be great at getting your team to win X amount of games and do whatever, but like you have to win. You have to at least, this team the 1 seed has to be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
By the way, I want to do a quick correction. So he's 98. He has a winning percentage in the playoffs. I misread that stat. So he's 98 and 94 overall in the playoffs. The 341 winning percentage is in closeout games.
Right.
So I want to do a quick caveat on that. So he overall has a winning record in the playoffs.
Yeah, but again, barely. And you're a high seed. You're supposed to win more games than you lose. If you're not, if you're in the conference finals, you're winning. You're winning 60% of your games.
It's never easy with him. Even that. Do you remember this? Even that Celtics team that won it all. You remember who they played in the first round? It was Atlanta, if I'm correct, in 2008.
Okay.
And that went 7 games.
Yeah.
Like, it's never easy for him.
Because he's not a good X's and O's basketball coach.
Yeah. So I don't know, but they got to figure out the point guard situation as well. Ben Simmons at this point, it's that stat they posted. He took 3 shots the entire fourth quarter for 7 games. 3 shots. That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
He's played 4 years in the league. I know he's only 24, but I have seen 0 progression of an offensive game. 0. You're not going to make the leap all from year 1 to 2 or from 1 to 3. He's made 0 progression.
I think, the thing with Ben Simmons is we did this with Giannis, right? We're like, can you win a championship with Giannis as your best player? And I said, you can, but you need to do this. You need to have this around him. Now, I know Ben Simmons was the unanimous number 1 overall and like the process builder. You know what I mean? You obviously can't win a championship with Ben Simmons as your best player, but for the Sixers, they don't want him to be their best player. You know what I mean? That's not
Sure.
like Embiid is their best player. So for the Sixers, that's not a question that they even have to ask. And I don't think at this point anybody thinks that Ben Simmons could be the best player on a playoff team, right? Like if Ben Simmons is your absolute best player, are you a playoff team? Probably not. So that's not the question we have to be asking. And I understand that everybody wants to talk about the bustness of him because he's the 1 overall. But like, I still think the answer to a question is, can Ben Simmons be the point guard on a championship team? Yes, I think he can. But certain things need to happen. And obviously, you're going to need at least a player who's significantly better than him, who's the alpha. You're also going to need to have a coach who knows what the fuck he's doing in terms of using you. But, Brant Tobler tweeted this thing today. He said, trade Ben Simmons to Golden State. If Clay and Steph can't fix his shot, nobody can. And it's funny. And yeah, like the idea of those guys, like teaching him to shoot is, a great idea. But here's why I like that idea even more. I think the Ben Simmons goal should be to be Sean Livingston, who's now an exec or like a player personnel guy with the word. Like that should be what Ben Simmons is trying to achieve. Sean Livingston kind of plus, where you're hitting that baby jumper, you're hitting the little turnarounds, but like you never become a face-up 3-point shooter. You never become a guy who's like working people off the dribble, but you have good size. You're a great passing guard. You've got that in-between range. You take advantage of smaller dudes. You help facilitate. You can and remember, now Sean Livingston dealt with an injury, obviously a bad injury early, but he was the 4th overall pick. And for a long time, it was like bust. But he turned out to have a fantastic NBA career and was a huge part of those Warriors championships. So like that to me is like what Ben Simmons should be trying to achieve at this point.
Yeah.
Is like Sean Livingston, but on steroids. Like take it one level further.
You're
younger, more athletic, and you don't have the injury, but like back up smaller guys, hit little baby jumpers, hit little floaters. Like he's got to have that. That's why I like the thought of him like going and Steph and Clay turning him into a 3-point shooter is a joke, but like him like on a Sean Livingston type of mentorship, like he could be that guy.
I've never seen someone more scared. Obviously, everyone's talking about the play where he had an easy dunk. I've never seen someone more scared to shoot. It reminded me, as someone who just coached third graders, I think this is actually a perfect comparison. It reminded me of some kids on my team, 8 or 9-year-old boys who are scared to shoot the ball. That's what he looked like last night. I actually felt cringeworthy watching him. It was tough to watch. You're like, dude, you're so scared to shoot.
But it's funny because, and again, we're talking about the same coach, but dude, that was Rondo how many years into his career?
That's a good point.
5, 6.
Wow. Yeah,
7 years into his career.
People would just Rondo.
People would give him free throw distance jump shots and he would refuse to take them.
That's right.
Now he's hitting threes, now he's hitting open jump shots, but it's a very similar development. It's a very similar offensive game, similar coach, but like, can you win a championship with Rajon Rondo as your best player? Absolutely not. Can you win a championship with Rajon Rondo as your point guard? We have seen that you can. Now, the NBA is different than it was 10 years ago, but I still believe that's what you need. You need to, like, Ben Simmons needs to be better when he peaks out than Rajon Rondo was. But it's got to happen soon. It's got to happen at some point.
I don't want to. If I'm a Sixers fan, I don't want him on my team next year. I just don't. I want a point guard who can get his own buckets, who can score. I mean, the Embiid window, if you look at history on big men getting injured early on in their career, this Sixers window to win is tight.
But here's the problem with the Sixers window to win. Can this Sixers team with Greg Popovich and, I don't know, pick a point guard, pick somebody in the league to just swap straight up for Ben Simmons. That's you're not saying like, oh, just put Steph. Can Steph and Embiid and Greg Popovich win? Yeah, of course. But like,
what about, okay, I'm gonna toss. I'm
gonna
toss out.
Trading him for, and then you have Doc Rivers, Embiid, and X beat the Nets, beat the Bucks.
Let me toss out someone, and it was discussed, and they didn't pull the trigger. And he's older, so I think that played a part into it. Do you think they have a better chance of winning that series if they have Kyle Lowry as their point guard?
Yeah, but do Kyle Lowry, Joel Embiid, and Doc Rivers, first of all, for sure win that series? Maybe, probably. It was a game 7, and he's significantly better than Ben Simmons. But do they beat the Bucks or the Nets?
Well, it'd be the Bucks, obviously, because they're moving on.
But I'm saying when you're looking at it, like I said for the last 2 weeks, the winner of the Bucks Nets series wins the East. Do you like that? If you're the exec, you're Daryl Morey, and they're like, hey, you're gonna have Kyle Lowry, Embiid, and Doc Rivers, like with having an honest heart.
I like my chances better. Again, just for this year, I like my chances better with Kyle Lowry. But this year.
It's not about whether you like your chances better. It's about, does it actually do it? And I say it does not. Because you still have a Doc Rivers problem.
Yeah.
Dare I say you probably help Simmons. Like, listen, this isn't it. This ain't it. You know what I mean? But like, if I was exec there, I would rather take my chance with a new coach and Simmons and Embiid than Doc and Embiid and a new point guard.
I got you. I don't. And I don't hate that.
Hate to do it again because we just did the theoretical replace of Simmons, right?
Sure.
And I hate to be that guy, but the theoretic replace of Doc. How about point guard whisperer Mike D'Antoni, Simmons, and Embiid? Does that make them a better? Like, I like that better than Kyle Lowry and Embiid and Doc Rivers.
Is James Harden on the Nets next year?
I don't know what's the.
I don't know what. Yeah, I'm just asking what his contract was. I don't know.
So yeah, I think I don't think he's a free agent.
The reason I asked, I mean, they are gonna. Philly's in a tough group right now.
Right. And when you're talking about the Embiid window, that's what you're talking about. You're talking about who do you have to beat?
Yeah. And again, the injury bug.
Now, Chris Paul's a free agent. Is Chris Paul and Embiid and Doc a championship? Well, we already did Doc and Chris Paul.
Yeah. I don't know what the answer is, but they got a lot of decisions to make. They're not going to fire Doc.
Well, no, they're not going to fire Doc, but therein lies, now we come full circle back to the thing. They're not going to fire Doc because
they got a 1 seed.
Right. They got a 1 seed. And because the Inside the NBA crew didn't say shit about Doc. Oh, man. Ben Simmons is terrible. If Ben Simmons is on my team, I would give him a wedgie. Yeah, no way. He can't be on my team. I'll put him in my super suit. I'll throw him into the sun. Like when Superman had that nuclear bomb. I just fly him out to the sun and I throw him into it. But so hammering Ben Simmons and not saying shit about Doc Rivers. Ben Simmons has been in the league 4 fucking years. Doc Rivers has blown more 3-1 series than Ben Simmons has years in the league. And if you go on ESPN right now, Ben Simmons deal inevitable. Doc Rivers underachieving for 5 years with yet another franchise, also inevitable.
Yeah. It's not good, man.
I'm not saying Ben Simmons deserves any sort of, leeway. I'm not saying Ben Simmons isn't greatly underachieving. I'm not saying Ben Simmons isn't a 1 seed, 1 first round, first overall bust so far. But what I am saying is it's kind of unfair to do a whole, let's just hammer Ben Simmons and let Doc Rivers coach another team to mediocrity for probably half of the upcoming decade.
Yeah, they're equally accountable.
I would say he's way more accountable.
I agree.
He's the head coach.
I would put it more
Ben
on
Simmons
Doc
is
as well.
one player.
I'd put it more on Doc because of his history. And he is already repeating his history of not winning come playoff time with a team that's stacked, with a team that performs very well in the regular season. And he's already repeating that in year 1. That would scare the shit out of me if I'm a Sixers fan. Mm-hmm. If I see he's doing this in year 1, the underperforming come crunch time, when it matters most, I'd be scared.
And like I said about Jerry Jones Jason Garrett, and like I said about old fucking visor douche, who's the old Eagles coach? Peterson. As a New York Knicks fan and a hater of all things Philadelphia, I hope they give Doc Rivers a fucking Krzyzewski contract. I hope he's coaching there until the fucking polar ice caps melt. I hope he coaches there till there's a fucking tricentennial. I hope the dude is coaching in Philadelphia forever.
There were some great crowd shots of last night's game of in shock Sixers fans. I mean, they hit a multiple array of fans.
Imagine what it's like to be a Philly Sixers fan right now. You watch your team fucking blow the 1 seed, lose a game 7, and now you're like, fuck, I got to eat a turkey sandwich from a gas station on the way home. Fucking dairy-filled wife waiting for me. Hopefully waxing her mustache while I was gone.
Savage. You want to hear a depressed Sixers fan?
Yes.
We answered basically the call, but I'm going to play it because this dude, man, just down. You can hear it in his voice.
You love to hear it.
Just a man who has been ruined.
Give it to me.
By the game of sport.
I'm fucking literally eating it. Give it to me.
What's going on, boys? This call might be a little long. I don't know. But man, it's 12 a.m. Sixers fan here, just sitting here, just thinking about how shitty of a fucking situation we're in. I mean, just the waste of Joel Embiid and his talent and his would-be MVP year had he been fully healthy. And Ben Simmons, just the falling apart of Ben Simmons and Doc Rivers getting fucking exposed. I don't know, man. I think they got to blow it up. I think they got to get rid of everybody that's not named Embiid. At this point, damn near Seth Curry. Seth Curry's not getting paid anything, as far as I know. But then you got Ben Simmons on a max contract, and I think his value is nothing at this point. What can you even get for him? This is more of a little bit of a rant than just a question, but what do you even do if you're in the position of the Sixers? Do you just blow it all up, get rid of Tobias? Dwight Howard fucking sucks. And they got G League MVP Paul Reed, who was electric whenever he fucking played, just wasting away on the bench, letting Dwight Howard fucking play. And just pick up hard, stupid fouls. I don't know. I'm at a loss. Can't say I didn't see it coming, though. Anyways, shout out to Kendall Jenner for picking the right basketball player to get with Devin Booker. Really showing out over fucking Ben Simmons at this point. Anyways, stay cool, boys.
Sad, depressed. I mean,
Oh my God, that guy hates work today.
You know, I felt for him when you could just hear it in his voice. In the end, I'm also like, he's a fucking Sixers fan. Feed it to me.
Sports will break you. That man was
Sports will break
broken.
you. Yeah, that's one of my sports are dumb tweets in a fucking phone call.
Man, that guy is.
He does bring up a good point that I did not. That's something that needs to be discussed in the Ben Simmons thing. And again, like, I'm not making any excuses for Ben Simmons whatsoever, but like, I don't think the idea is like throw Ben Simmons into the sun. I think that there's value in Ben Simmons, but you have to weigh the value of Ben Simmons with the fact that they're paying him a max contract. That's a fucking joke. That's where they're really in trouble, because how the fuck do you move him if you wanted to? That's kind of why they're fucked. That's kind of why like you kind of just got to take your medicine and you got to find somebody that can coach him up, but they're not going to do that. So,
dude, if he developed a jump shot with the way he plays defense and his body and his all-around game, he could be so good if he developed a jump shot. Even
I'm telling you, man, like Livingston's got to be his fucking. Put a poster of Sean Livingston on your wall, dude. Watch Sean Livingston fucking highlights. Be Sean Livingston. Always be yourself, unless you can be Sean Livingston, and then be Sean Livingston.
Yeah, I don't know what his value is. That is also another good question.
Well, his value is his value is not a max contract. Now, are the OKC Thunder going to fucking trade him for whoever and take, 3 of your first picks and whatever, and then turn him into like a decently good player and then walk away? Like, I mean, they just did with Kemba, right?
Yeah. They're stockpiling picks like no other.
And, I mean, can we transition into that deal? So, the kind of gut reaction from a lot of people is Brad Stevens' first move as an exec is to get rid of Kemba. He must have fucking hated Kemba, blah, 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 which I don't necessarily like look into it in such a shallow fashion. I think, Brad Stevens is a good coach, or was a good coach, and they didn't win, and they don't have the talent to win right now. And his job as the new head of basketball is to find a way for them. Like, I think that he's smart enough to know we're not there. We just don't, like, we have to make changes. And so obviously Kemba had a disappointing run with the Celtics, but I don't think this necessarily speaks to like, oh, I think Kemba's trash. I think he's just going like, we need to do something. And, if we're building around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and that's it, like that's the core, then everybody else is expendable. I gotta reshuffle the deck. So like, I like that move by them. And I also don't think it's necessarily as easy as saying, well, Brad Stevens clearly thinks fucking Kemba's trash.
Yeah. it looks like a win for both
On the
organizations.
surface, that's what it feels like, but I don't necessarily think that's what it speaks to because listen, if you can't win, who isn't expendable? I would argue that Jaylen Brown's expendable, depending on what you could get for him.
Yeah. Well, Brad Stevens, obviously, he's the new GM, president of basketball operations, whatever the technical title is. He's trying to lay his own blueprint, right? This is his first move, like you said. This is his team now to run, so to speak, and he's gonna do that real quick though. And I don't want to go back to it, but real quick because I thought of this and I just remembered it. Who wins more playoff series in their coaching career? Doc Rivers or Back to the Future Doc Brown? Like if they're coaching the team, does Doc Brown do more? Does Doc Brown?
Dude, Doc Brown was making fucking on the fly adjustments all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
Doc Brown's like, remember when the fucking cable broke? And Doc can't get it together and he's fucking sliding down on a wire. He's ziplining. Doc Brown, when Doc Brown faced adversity, he got it done.
That's what I'm saying. Doc Brown was Mr. On the fly adjustments. Back to the Future 3.
Like, I mean, just think about the end of one. Think about Doc Rivers showing up at the end of one and Marty being like, I don't think we have enough road to get up to 88 miles an hour. He's like, well, we're going to need road. So we better find some place where we can get up to 88 miles an hour. Meanwhile, Doc Brown has already turned this into a fucking flying car. He's like, we never need roads anymore. Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yeah.
If fucking making adjustments.
And let's reverse it. If Doc Rivers is calling the shots like Doc Brown, Marty is stuck in 1955 forever.
Oh, dude, if Doc Rivers is Doc Brown, like the world of Back to the Future is just Marty's mom getting raped by Biff for eternity in the back seats of cars.
Shouldn't laugh.
But like,
but I am.
That's
I'm
the
laughing.
low. We shouldn't laugh, but that's the low key moment of Back to the Future no one talks about enough. There's a near rape in Back to the Future.
That's a great point. Well, I recently watched all three with Nick D'Alessandro.
Yeah.
And that was something that definitely caught our eye again. You're like, whoa, hey, he's not only a bully, he is a straight up rapist.
Yeah. There's a lot of questionable moments in some of those movies when you go back now that would are totally like, whoa.
Bro, I think we talked about Bill Murray. Not to throw, we love Bill Murray, but in Meatballs, you remember that scene?
No.
That's Meatballs, dude. Same thing.
Meatballs in 25 years.
You go rewatch it. Bill Murray straight up tries to like rape a girl at the camp, and you're like, I watched that one last week. I was like, whoa, like what? And again, I'm not trying to. It's not about canceling. It's just to me, it's just about where we've come.
Yeah, like I think Bill and Ted throw out a gay slur at one point, and you're like, whoa. In retrospect, this is. I don't know. I'm not sure how to feel about this. You guys got to get in your phone booth and go.
Speaking of that,
apparently you guys didn't go to 2021 in your phone booth and find out that was fucking unacceptable.
I know we've talked about it. I watched the trailer last night. I was laughing out loud. The trailer for Soul Man is unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
bro. Just the trailer for Soul Man. C. Thomas Howell.
For people who don't know, Soul Man was
give the premise.
An entire blackface movie.
The entire movie.
A kid wants to go to Harvard and he can't get in, so he
no, he does get in. This is the premise, which I learned in the trailer. I thought that was it because I hadn't seen it in so long. The premise is C. Thomas Howell from Outsiders fame, who played Ponyboy Curtis. He gets into Harvard, and his rich parents say you're paying for the tuition.
Right, yeah.
And by the way, guess what the tuition was? I watched the trailer last night.
$25,000.
It was like $10,400.
Yeah.
Which to me, and that was like one of the first YouTube comments, which I thought was funny to go, the craziest part about this trailer isn't all like the racist shit. It's, yo, dude,
Harvard's now $90,000.
Yeah. Harvard was only like 10.5K back in the 80s.
Yeah.
So the premise is, so
So it's not. It wasn't like a whatever. But yeah. So he becomes black to get a scholarship.
To become a scholarship, and he couldn't look more white.
Yeah.
The whole movie, he's in blackface.
Just him in blackface.
The whole movie is him in blackface.
Ridiculous.
And it also stars James Earl Jones is the main professor. Came out in 86. It's absolutely bananas to me that this movie happened. But you know what I've learned? You know what it is? If you're not important now, nobody cares.
Right.
Like, I don't want to throw C. Thomas Howell under the bus, but like, what's he doing?
Right. You can't cancel C. Thomas Howell.
I'm saying
I think they tried to cancel C. Thomas Howell recently.
His own career canceled himself.
I think he was it him or was it somebody else? They like tried to pull up like on a rape, like an 85 rape charge or something like that. Like, it's wild.
So if you have a couple minutes, I would advise anybody listening to watch the trailer for Soul Man, and you're going to be like, "What the fuck? This happened? This movie happened?" Yeah, but I will say, James Earl Jones, man, obviously an amazing actor, and the pedigree is so high for him. That's probably one he regrets doing.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking all the great movies he's done.
Speaking of James Earl Jones, I cannot. I know we got to transition into this series before we move away from basketball. We got to talk about the West a little bit. Well, first of all, we got to talk. We have a lot of basketball left to talk.
I agree.
But every single time Terrence Mann made a bucket, I was just like, the boat rocker.
I know.
The boat rocker.
I think explain it. I think there's people not getting
it. Terrence Mann was the name of James Earl Jones' character in Field of Dreams. It's spelled slightly different.
Sure.
But he's like a 60s activist writer. He writes, in the movie they refer to like the major, like he's almost like the black JD Salinger, and his catcher in the rye is the boat rocker. And there's even a moment where he asks Costner, like, what happened with his dad? Like, when did the relationship fall apart? He's like, after I read The Boat Rocker by Terrence Mann, he's like, oh, see, this is why I don't let people in my house. Don't put it on me.
Sure.
When he hits him with the hippie spray, it's just so great. And somebody's got to remake it. Somebody's got to remake. I mean, it would have been great if if the Clippers can pull it out in one of these games, or if he has another big moment. But we need Ray Kinsella making a U-turn in the Volkswagen van, and maybe it's Chris Paul driving, and he makes the U-turn, and there's Clippers Terrence Mann in the middle of the street.
Yeah, with the lights on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terrence Mann went off. I mean, what do you have? 36, 38?
Yeah.
And again, I brought it up last episode, man. The Ty Lue, Doc Rivers.
Well, there was a moment I remember early on.
They won that series without Kawhi.
Right. Early on in the first round when things were looking dicey for the Clippers. There's still these people out there. There's still Doc Rivers defenders. There's still Melo defenders. The world's a crazy. Basketball Twitter is one of the craziest places in the world. But I remember seeing a tweet. God, I wish I knew who it was now. But like somebody I follow who's like, I guess it wasn't Doc Rivers after all. It's like, no, it fucking was. Because the Clippers are still playing. The Clippers are in their first Western Conference Finals ever. Am I a Ty Lue stan? Am I a Ty Lue defender? Do I think Ty Lue's a top 5 coach in the league like Nick Wright's out there claiming this morning? Absolutely not. But he's better than Doc Rivers. Kinda.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying last week, man. Come on. They're in the finals. They lost a 2-time finals MVP. Guys stepped up. Paul George is playing great. Terrence Mann went off. I mean, Something has to be said about the coach.
Buckets, Ray. Buckets.
Now this will be an interesting series because you have the star point guard and then the star all-around best player in the team both out right now, and I don't know what their status is for upcoming games.
I don't know what their status is either. I mean, I know obviously Chris Paul's got to get out of the protocol, however that happens, and then Kawhi is obviously, I mean, I think day to day probably for the rest of the playoffs. So,
Devin Booker, man,
Devin Booker,
dude,
got that Kardashian bump, that Jenner bump.
He's breaking out, man. I'm telling you, this is obviously the guy has been able to score. What?
I love it. I like that you're suddenly buying Devin Booker stock.
No. I'm not suddenly buying it.
Hear me out, guys.
Obviously, he had 70.
Get in on Amazon.
The guy had 70 points a few years ago.
Get yourself some Amazon
What I'm
stock.
saying is, dude had a triple-double yesterday. Like, I'm saying his all-around game, he had a 40-point triple-double. This guy is blossoming even further before everyone's eyes into just an elite NBA star.
Yeah.
He lost it. He lost his point guard and he put his team on his back.
He lost a veteran point guard and he has a triple-double in the Western Conference Finals. He has arrived.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But he had already arrived, but it's, now he's arriving bigger and bigger stages. He's out of the local beauty pageant. He's in the Miss America pageant now. Miss Universe is next.
So it's like those. It's like a flower, right? Like I got these hostas in the front yard, and I've never seen.
Bless you.
I've never seen flowers bloom on them. My parents have had them forever. I'll be honest. I don't think my dad. I'll take a shot after Father's Day, Walt. But you didn't take enough care of them. I don't know what you were doing. I swear electricity's gonna go out here in a minute. That's how it's gonna work. But I'm saying now I'm seeing flowers, violet, the blooming on them because they've developed. They haven't been too eaten by bugs or deer this year. So yes, my hostas in the front yard are Devin Booker. I don't know if that's a diss on him or not.
I don't either.
I don't know what it is, but hey, here I am making these awful metaphors. I think the Suns take this series, though.
I mean, listen, the Kawhi thing is big. The Chris Paul thing is big. But, it was a decent game. But if, I've been talking about the Suns and the confidence they're playing with. And they have, right now with Kawhi out and with Chris Paul out, they have by far the best player left in the series, right?
Yeah.
So let's start there. I always start there. Who's got the best player? Let's start there.
Wait, you're saying Devin Booker's by far?
Yeah.
Paul George is pretty good.
Well, Paul George, would you say Paul George is on Devin Booker's level right now?
Not right now.
Right. So the Suns have the best player in the series and Kawhi, Devin Booker is great and Devin Booker's going off, but when Kawhi's playing, and it's healthy, they're probably the best overall player. And then, then the question is, if everybody was healthy, you probably go Kawhi, Booker, CP3, then Paul George, right? So then you've got two out of the top three, but also Devin Booker has a triple double. So I'd argue he could be in the argument for the best. So listen, I have the Suns too. It's a nice run for the Clippers. They get to the Western Conference Finals. But I also have the Suns. And I think it'll be a fun series. But I'm with you.
Yeah. I do too. And I hopefully these guys can get back and play. Now, on the other end, Kevin Durant had another great game, forces into overtime with that clutch shot. But again, there's only so much you can do, man.
Yep. Obviously, Harden's playing, but hurt. Kyrie's totally out.
Apparently he was really hurt. Did you hear what Harden said?
Yeah, but you could see that. You could see his only job in there was to be the world's greatest decoy. And, and good for Kevin Durant. Listen, Kevin Durant is awesome. Kevin Durant is I think I talked about it a couple of years ago. I mean, Kevin Durant has potential to be, a top 5 player of all time. In some, like, depending on how you look at like how you judge people in the modern era, like if you judge a 6'11", like, again, I said it before, I'll say it, like Kevin Durant scored 1,000 points in the 90s. It's like a joke. Like, then he'd be unstoppable. So, like, depending on your era and your evolution, if you rank players like that, like Kevin Durant has a chance to be a top 2 player of all time. But he's certainly, like, on a level that with very few other guys in the NBA right now. And yeah, but you can only do so much, especially just from a scoring standpoint when you've got a lot of guys out on this team. I mean, I saw the headline yesterday that like Spencer Dinwiddie might not, take his option. It's like he was like, who was it at the end? It was Kevin Durant and Joe Harris.
Yeah.
And like an incredible performance and such a great scorer and the best bucket getter of all time already, in my opinion. And Tug texted me. Unfortunately, I did a show in San Diego on Saturday night. Did a couple shows. I only got to watch like the last like 3 or 4 minutes of regulation, and then I got to watch overtime. And Tug texted me that Steve Nash was a spectator the same as we were. That, he was basically calling him out for like not coaching him up. And it's like, well, listen, you got a first-year head coach and you got Kevin Durant scoring 50 and like what, I'm almost not sure what you'd want him to do in that situation. Like, what do you like getting the ball out of Kevin Durant's hands? But I understand what he was saying. It didn't seem like there was a whole lot of strategery coming from the Brooklyn sideline. My two guys over there, other than let Kevin Durant. But like with the lineup and the health of the team, like I'm not really sure what else you do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it got to overtime. So
right.
Man, so close too. Heck, foot was so close.
It's funny because
apparently who wears the size shoe? Did you hear this?
Yeah.
Like a size bigger.
Yeah. Which is just like a ridiculous thing to come out in like the aftermath of that. But at the same time, I wondered, and listen, the footwork on that shot, the ability to like go backwards, spin, pull out, and make that shot is, there's not a ton of guys in the NBA who can do that. But when I watched it, I did say out loud in this comedy club, why was he ever inside the 3-point line? He stepped back and he didn't step back far enough. But like, dude, you're 6'11". You shot over everybody.
Yeah.
Why did you ever even go inside? And I honestly, at first, he pushed in so far, I thought he was going for a game tire. Like, I thought he was like, I'm not going to fuck with trying to win this game with a 3. I'm going to hit a mid-range and make sure that we get to overtime. And then when he was going in, I was like, yep, yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. And then when he backed up and he took it, I was like, no, not long twos. And so if he wanted a 3 to win the game, I don't know why he ever stepped half of his extra shoe size inside the 3-point line. So there's that. And listen, it's another one. I like Kevin Durant as a player, obviously. As a guy, we don't have to go into all that. I like James Harden as a player. I love D'Antoni. I love Steve Nash, but I'm a Knicks fan. So fuck them all. Although then I had to deal with people on Twitter like angrily coming at me about the Nets. Like some guy accused me of being a Nets fan. I'm like, I don't even know what, like the internet, basketball Twitter just makes me sick.
You got to get off it, man.
I know, but so much action. But let's talk. Okay, listen, I love Kevin Durant. He was awesome. He's incredible. He put the team on his back. They almost won it. But we're not We're not. So what's amazing to me about basketball Twitter and basketball talking heads or whatever is in the loss of the series in the second round, Kevin Durant went off and by a lot of people's measure earned best basketball player alive status. But if LeBron loses in the finals, that's why he's not great.
You know what, man? You just can't do it. I'm serious. You just can't go there anymore. Dude, I got in this discussion with my brother. He got heated. I just go, stop. It was literally about the same shit. And then I was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this.
I'm looking.
Do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying like, it's the same argument. I'm agreeing with you is what I'm saying.
But
it's
I'm going full Bernie meme. I'm here once again asking for consistency.
Yeah.
I'm once again asking you for consistency. Like, I agree with the people who watch what Luka does and say he's probably the best all-around player in basketball right now, even though he loses in the first round 2 years in a row. I agree with the people who watch Kevin Durant do what he does those last couple games and say he's the baddest man in the NBA right now. You need a bucket, it's KD. But we're looking at a first-round loss and a second-round loss. And LeBron was those two guys in one for 15 years. And if he didn't win the whole fucking thing, we don't give him any praise. He has to win it all. Kevin Durant just has to show out in 2 games at the end of the second round. And he is the king alpha in the NBA.
Well, look, you're not going to find
dragging people to NBA finals and losing in 6 and 7 games, and he's a choker.
I think the problem is you're expecting consistent. You're just not going to find consistency.
I'm here once again asking you to understand basketball.
But you're just not going to find consistency.
Right.
That's the problem.
Hate.
I mean, Twitter is. I'm listening to a fascinating podcast. It's the psychology of it. It really is fascinating and what people want to believe and what they want to hear. And also the percentage of people that regularly use it it's not even that high. But yet, like those of us who do use it think that's how everybody uses it. Right. Does that make sense? Like I don't know.
It's like with dirt balls. Like we're like, oh, we see all these names and we're like, those dirt balls, like really passionate. And then you find guys that's like, you go to a show and this guy's like, I'm not on social media, but I've listened to every podcast you've ever done.
That's what I'm saying.
And like, start mentioning shit from your life and you're like, whoa.
I would say most of the people like on any of this stuff, podcasts, sports, politics, like they're a silent majority.
Yeah.
They have their opinions. They're too busy. Like, I mean, NBA Twitter is fascinating to me.
That being said, if you're one of those social media people, just start an Instagram account and never post on it, but follow me because that's the only way you can work anymore.
Start an OnlyFans account, man. Just start showing your dick.
I'm once again asking that you not say this.
Wasn't that your plan for me?
An OnlyFans?
You've been telling me for years to make a porno.
I didn't know. I haven't said make a porn. I said make a sex tape.
That's
actually,
a porno.
You missed your window, though. You missed your window. When you were the king of all social media and that you had that clout. In your early Twitter days, you could have. You could have turned a sex tape into like a Jake Paul type of career. You could have been like, boxing Beetlejuice from Howard Stern for money, like you could have done that, but you missed your window. The real Twitter era is over and you thrived during it, but
boxing Beetlejuice. That would be funny.
Yeah. He's like a brain damaged midget and he's got a dented head and they're going to go head to head in a whack pack boxing match.
Yeah, I probably would have lost too.
Did I say midget? I didn't mean a little person. I don't even know if he is a little person. Listen, cancel.
Yeah.
I apologize to the small dwarf community.
I think you just stepped on more toes.
As dwarf, I can't say dwarf.
You better just be quiet.
Let me
I don't
just
know.
apologize to everybody under 5 feet tall. I apologize.
I don't know, man.
To all height impaireds.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't even know if you can say that.
I'm sorry I stepped on your toes, guys. I wear my shoes 2 sizes.
You offended you offended the toe community, bro. There's like a toe community out there.
Oh, bro, that is the toe. I know all about the toe community. I do have an OnlyFans just for my feet.
The foot fetish community is strong.
Yeah.
I think they fell off though.
Yeah.
At least on watching dirty sports.
Yeah, because you're not on your couch with your socks on anymore.
Yeah. I tried to, by the way, speaking of foot, I tried it. I was doing yard work in sandals and I was like, this ain't it. This ain't it. Like, I'm like picking up
Italian grandmother. What?
It's been really hot here. And I was like, I don't feel like putting on shoes today. I'm going to go because there was a big storm. So I was picking up like sticks, debris, and like weeds. And I was
this is why people do socks and sandals, bro. This is why the Nick D'Alessandros of the world, they got like socks and Tevas on.
No, not to do yard. I just threw on shoes. I said, this ain't it, man. The sandals, either you just go barefoot, which is fine. Just go barefoot.
Yeah, you can't have that like dustiness that happens between your sandal and your foot.
Yeah, that was a huge mistake trying to do the little yard tidying up in sandals. I was like, what am I doing here? This is a rookie move. Who do you think wins that Bucks-Hawks series? Do you give the Hawks any chance?
I do give the Hawks a chance, but I think the Bucks win.
So you're predicting Bucks-Suns finals?
I am.
Man, it's craziness, dude. That's where we're at.
The NBA, it's rigged for the big markets. Milwaukee, Phoenix, the NBA, it's fantastic.
Dude, did you see that Clippers Suns bra with the fans in shirtless jerseys again?
Clippers Suns.
Did you not see this?
No.
Whoa.
Wait, do we have more jerseys, no undershirts?
Bro.
Dude,
honestly, I mean a wild bra in like the concession area.
Dude, I'm so like, listen, I'm gonna toot my own horn here, but like, how early was I on the Doc Rivers thing? How early was that? Like, I want it known right now that I dug my heels in on the playoff, this playoffs, the jersey without an undershirt. Like, I want credit for being the first person to recognize that this is the subculture of basketball fans that we most need to worry about. This is like the Proud Boys of the thing. Like, this is the like subsection of the population that like the FBI needs to be monitoring.
Well, I think the problem is the Suns and 4 guy with the one fight has gotten so much positive attention that now, this is just, I'm assuming, that Suns fans are chomping at the bit to throw down. So this video, which I watched last night on YouTube, it heats up. It doesn't just go into a fight. Clippers fans are completely outnumbered. There's like 3 Clippers fans around like 15 Suns fans, and they're all talking trash. And they're doing the four, and this is after game 1. And then out of nowhere, the Clippers guy goes full Amir Garrett, just rogue against everyone, throws a punch. And dude, this melee is just, it's out of control. I mean, these sports leagues, get it under control.
First things first, like, honestly, like, I hate to like go full police state here, but like when my buddy sent me a picture. He went to one of the Knicks playoff games and he was sitting in the second deck. So he's at the Garden and he's kind of like under one of the overhangs. And there is a full-on 1984 Big Brother London Metro style camera system. I mean, he's sitting under 6 cameras pointing in different directions. And I know for a fact that those cameras are looking for somebody with like a fuck Dolan sign, or somebody yelling fire Dolan, or somebody saying like James Dolan is a psychopath and literally has probably 1 million cameras at the Garden and will remove anybody who's anti-Dolan. I think the NBA needs to follow his lead and be monitoring all people who are wearing jerseys without t-shirts underneath. This is America's Most Wanted. They are going to be like, if we can eradicate that population,
you want to do jersey profiling is what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I do not believe in racial profiling. I 100% believe in t-shirtless jersey. Like if you're wearing jeans and a jersey, I throw them in Guantanamo. Waterboard them. I want them rounded up.
You know what trend I am noticing with these types? Not the stereotyping I'm about to. It's
I want to go full Christoph Waltz in Glorious Bastards. Where is the shirtless Jersey man? I know he's here. I can smell him.
Yeah, it's kind of like a trashy person. But like if I just close my eyes and I was like, okay, it's either a white trash guy or a Mexican dude with a bunch of tattoos. Like I'm saying, like I can pinpoint.
At the beach, at a barbecue, poolside in Vegas, in Palm Springs, grilling up some hot dogs on the 4th of July. These are places that are fully acceptable to wear a jersey with a t-shirt.
You know what they need to do?
In an NBA stadium, put a bag over their head, zip tie their hands, throw them in a van, and drive them to the closest military base where they can rot in a jail cell forever for the safety of all basketball fans.
Here's what they need to do. I agree. It's a faux pas. It's not a good look. You don't look fresh. It's not a good.
Forget it's not a good look, Andy. I think it's a sign that you're sick.
Well, I have some advice for these guys. If they want to improve their look, Joe, they should go to everlane.com/dirty and use a great promo code, that's our link. Everlane.com/dirty. Get 10% off their first order plus free shipping. Have you received your Everlane clothes? Because I got mine, and I will tell you, it is a huge upgrade to my wardrobe.
I got a pair of jeans. They're so soft.
Oh my God.
I'm not even sure they're jeans.
So soft.
I feel like a chick. Like I was like, are these like yoga pant jeans? Are these like sweats jeans? They're so comfortable. And they're so soft. I've worn them. I've had them a week. I think I've worn them for every stand-up show I've done for a week. I think I've worn them 3 times. They're so soft.
I agree. I got a pair of the Athletic Stretch organic jeans. I felt the same way. I slipped them on and I said, are these even jeans? Because they feel so soft and they have so many different styles. I also got the sport jogger, which I've been rocking at night. Nice little jogger when the AC's on here. And then for my sister-in-law, I got her the super soft relaxed jeans, which she absolutely loves. The great thing about Everlane, if you go to their website, is they have such a great variety. So I just named a few of the different styles that they have, guys. From workout to takeout, swimwear to track wear, styles for lounging at home or hitting up your favorite late night spot. They have all these great different types of clothes. Their breathable, organic cotton track wear gives an elevated take on tried and true basics. And get a head start on your summer look with Everlane's sustainable swimwear collection. Good for all my swimmers out there. Made from, listen to this. This is pretty cool. Made from 13,768 pounds of recycled plastic. They turn it into swim gear. So it's, reusable and it's good for the environment. So Dirtballs, if you want to get some of these great products, go to everlane.com/dirty and sign up for 10% off your first order plus free shipping and get easy returns within 30 days of your ship date. That's 10% off your first order when you go to everlane.com everlane.com/dirty and sign up. And that's EVERALANE.com, everlane.com/dirty.
And I want to reiterate one more time. If you're a Bucks fan, a Hawks fan, a Clippers fan, or a Suns fan, and you've got a playoff ticket in your possession, you're planning on going to a playoff game from here on out, go to everlane.com/dirty sports, get yourself a nice
/dirty.
/dirty, and get yourself a nice, soft t-shirt for under your jersey so that I don't round you up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you said it. We got a lot of basketball news. In other news, Rick Carlisle, after a long tenure, which included a title, will no longer be coaching the Mavs. The Mavs have had a
crazy offseason in a week.
Yeah. And did you ever read the Athletic article?
Yes.
It started it all? Because I did.
So the Donnie Nelson thing was one thing. And I know that the conversation about Luka and who Luka gets along with and who Luka doesn't get along with. And it's like, listen, Luka is so talented and so good that you got to do what you got to do to make him happy. So when they do the Donnie Nelson thing, is this a Luka? Is this have to do with Luka? Does this have to do with the shadow GM? Does this have to do with whatever? Okay. So I'm kind of like, whatever. We're probably blowing this out of proportion a little bit. Rick Carlisle leaving is a big deal. I think Rick Carlisle is a great coach. I think Rick Carlisle is a very easy go, like he just seems like a good guy. If there is an issue here that if Rick Carlisle left because of friction with Luka, as much as I love Luka, I think that paints him. I think that makes him more suspect to me. His attitude and just like, I mean, Rick Carlisle brought them their only title. I think he's a great X's and O's coach. He's the exact opposite of all the guys we've been talking about. Like, I think he is I think he was a top 5 NBA coach. And I think, Rick Carlisle cutting and running, if this is a Luka thing, that makes me question Luka and his attitude and whatever more than anything. Now, maybe this is maybe he didn't want to do it without Donnie Nelson. Maybe whatever, blah, 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 blah. There could be a million reasons.
Well, it sounds like the guy at the center of all this controversy is the shadow GM.
Right.
Bob, and I don't know how it's pronounced. Vulgaris.
Yeah.
It's a Greek word. He's a former gambler turned front office exec who apparently has the ear of Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban's always in this guy's ear.
Yeah.
So while Donnie Nelson was calling the shots, Donnie Nelson, by the way, drafted Doncic.
Right.
Doncic. I say Doncic. Doncic. What is it?
Doncic, I'm assuming.
Doncic?
Yeah.
Anyway, it seems like this guy is at the center of all this stuff.
Yeah. And that's a weird thing. And Cuban, listen, here's the weird thing about it is Cuban, with all that kind of rumbling, immediately said after the regular season that Rick Carlisle would be the coach. And a week later, he is not the coach. And he leaves.
So they've lost 2 pieces that have been there a while. Now, Vulgaris's technical title is Director of Quantitative Research and Development.
Right.
He is, again, a former, very well-known NBA sports bettor. So he's in the analytics
and
world.
Like poker player, gambler, like math analytics whiz, a quant, if you will.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I'll tell you what, when you have a talent like Luka, you better get that shit figured out.
But you gotta have a coach. Who's the Mavs coach? And also, is Rick Carlisle the Celtics coach? Like, I know they're already throwing out other names, and I know there's like talk of like a minority hire and whatever, but like Carlisle of Boston seems like a no-brainer to me, unless Brad Stevens is like, we're going younger and whatever. But like, he played in Boston. The second he left, I was like, oh, he left to take the Boston job.
Well, I know he played in Boston. That was Jordan's infamous 63-point game.
Right.
Bill Walton was dropping F-bombs.
Yeah. Throwing me in a pick and roll with Rick fucking Carlisle. Move your feet, Rick. God damn it. I haven't sworn since 1961. I'm out here, the prime MJ, hitting me with a killer crossover, while Rick, Mr. Belding Carlisle, won't fight through a fucking pick. I've got Michael Jordan in open space. Hey, Rick, maybe tie up your Converse and guard somebody. Take off one of your shoes and throw it at him, Rick. God. I'm a 7 foot tall behemoth in a beard that's taken acid 46 times in the last 2 seasons with a bad back and bad feet, guarding Michael Jordan in space on the elbow. Rick, get a fucking tranquilizer gun.
How about that combo to go back to the Knicks? Carlisle head coach, Bill Walton, the assistant.
Yeah. To the Celtics?
Yeah.
You love it.
Yeah.
I don't think Bill Walton wants anything to do with Boston. No. Bill Walton's out every day playing the bass guitar at some like bar on Pacific Beach.
I'll be curious to see what happens for sure. And we'll let it play out. Hey, did you see this? I'm sure you saw it. You saw the
more flashbacks to that playoff game than I do from all the acid I've ever taken.
You saw this.
Sometimes my wife will wake up because I'm tossing and turning in bed. She said, Bill, I think you're having one of your crazy LSD flashbacks. And I go, no, I'm having a nightmare about the time Rick Carlisle abandoned me in a pick and roll with Michael Jordan. Guy put 63 on my head.
I'm sure you saw this Waffle House.
Yes.
Bet.
Pretty awesome.
And I saw a lot of dirtballs wanting us to do it. So basically the guy lost a fantasy bet and he had to be in a Waffle House for 24 hours.
And every waffle he ate took off an hour.
It's a really great idea. But
and those waffles are gross and gigantic.
Massive. But we can't mimic that exact thing.
No, but I like the idea.
It's a good idea.
I like that people's heads are already at this because that was a fantastic. And like the guy was, I mean, the New York Times wrote about it.
Yeah, I mean, he was live tweeting it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty brilliant idea.
So use that as your baseline.
It's a good baseline because it knocks it out.
Yeah. And I like the trapped somewhere. And I like, but I also like getting out of it with like, yeah. But we're not stealing the whole idea.
Yeah. No. We're not locking me in a chili parlor for 24 hours and saying, hey, every 2 cheese conies you eat, you get an hour off. I might just do that on my own. Who needs a bet? I'm going to chain myself to a bench. Like Gold Star chili, and
they're like, what are you doing? You're like, I've chained myself to this bench until I can eat 10 cheese conies. Like, oh, did you lose some sort of bet? No, I'm just hungry and like this bench.
Just really hungry. Yeah. But there's no 24-hour cheese coney parlors around here though, so that wouldn't work. That's what stinks. I agree. It's a good premise. We got to talk about Cole Beasley for a minute. I just
shut up and play the slot or whatever. Like, what's the shut up and dribble equivalent? Shut up and reception. Because
the reason I bring this up because we're seeing a lot of this now.
My thing about it is like, again,
with football players.
Yeah. My thing about it is, everybody was on the LeBron got asked it, and then they didn't like that he didn't answer it. My thing is, hey, Cole Beasley, no one fucking asked you. But also, like, it's just what a weird flex, right? Hey, man, what are you up to today? Well, I got to work out, and then I got to write like a monologue in my notes app about how I'm an anti-vaxxer. You're like, okay.
Well, look, here's my thing on the vaccine. I don't even know if I've shared this. I understand people's concerns on a quickly developed vaccine. It doesn't mean I don't understand. I do. I understand anyone's concerns on a vaccine when, if you look at the history and science behind it, most of these vaccines took a lot longer. I understand.
I talked to Dr. Dirtball Zach Olmstead about that because I appreciate him. I know he's like genius smart. And he's like, it's all money. He's like, they could have developed everything way faster if we had the money to do it. And we threw a ton of money at it. Here's the thing. My concern with it is just, I haven't been to the doctor in 20 years. I don't take shit. So I don't, why am I going to take something like, I haven't gotten a tetanus shot since the World Trade Center was standing. So like the idea of me I don't get the flu shot. I don't get anything. So I had concerns, but my thing is also like, and this is what I was just saying, during the golf tournament yesterday, I got it so I could go to Mets games without having to take a PCR test every time I went to a baseball game. So the idea that John Rahm didn't take it so he didn't lose $2 million is insane. The idea that Cole Beasley doesn't take it so he can not miss football games.
Yeah. So with that being said, I understand people's concerns. And if somebody doesn't want to get it, fine. Like, that's their prerogative. I'm not gonna give them shit. Obviously, I got the vaccine. But on the other hand, it's not like there isn't a precedent on vaccines. I think we have to understand that.
I think when you're talking,
my point is like you got to get the polio and I don't know if this is apples to orange. I could be completely wrong. That's why I'll preface it by saying that. But you got to get certain shots before you enter a public school as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, in my opinion, that's a similar comparison.
My issue with the Cole Beasley thing is, bro, like, why are you telling me? Because it seems to me why you're telling me is because you're trying to rally your fucking red hat anti-vaxxer crowd to be like, yo, what's up? I'm one of you dogs. Like, who are you appealing to with this? Why are you telling me? Why do I know? No one asked.
But it's not just him.
It's like
that's
the Twitter
what I'm
thing.
saying.
It's like nobody blank.
Sure.
Cole Beasley, here's my notes app.
But we're seeing the reason I'm bringing him up is that's what I'm saying. We're seeing this from a lot of NFL guys now. A lot of them.
But again, my point is, if somebody goes, hey, are you getting it? It's like, I'm not. And, I have a reason and I'm not doing it and whatever. Like LeBron said, I don't want to answer, whatever. I don't know if LeBron did or LeBron didn't. My point is, when you show up unannounced and just drop it on us, I'm like, oh, so you're just like you're basically just like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like you're just flexing on being like a dipshit. Like, I don't even know.
I don't know if he was or wasn't asked. I don't know if this all started because of a question during minicamp or whatever, but for the people concerned, I have played this out in my head of, okay, let's say it's a huge, let's go the extreme route. Let's say there's a huge government conspiracy, right? And they're infecting us with something. All of us who got vaccinated. My response would be, okay, then 80% of the country has it. Then we're all fucked. Does that make any sense? Like, I don't know if it's a weird way to view things, but my mentality is I'm getting the vaccine. If it's going to cause severe health effects, then it's just basically going to kill everybody. So I'm part of that group, whatever.
Here's my thing again, I will say it again. I literally got vaccinated to attend Mets games. Okay. So that is the entirety of my notes app monologue. Okay. But now I'm going to read this and just say, if I were in the NFL, Protocol modifications for vaccinated individuals. Fully vaccinated, no daily testing. Not fully vaccinated, testing required every day. Okay, I'm getting vaccinated. Right, just there, just on that. If I'm an NFL player, just on that alone, I don't want the idea of getting tested every day. I'm getting vaccinated. Okay. Fully vaccinated people, masks not required at club facility or during team travel. Not fully vaccinated, masks required at club facility and during travel. Forget the two of them together. Once again, alone. I don't have to wear a mask everywhere. I'm getting vaccinated. No physical distancing required. Must remain physically distant if you're not vaccinated. No quarantine required after high-risk exposure. Must quarantine after high-risk exposure. No travel restrictions. Travel restrictions in effect. No capacity limits in weight room. 15-player limit in weight room. May eat in cafeteria with other people. Has to be socially distanced, may not eat with teammates. No restrictions on social media, marketing, sponsorship opportunities. No social media, marketing, sponsorship activities permitted. May use sauna steam room. May not use. Dude, I'm getting vaccinated so I can use the fucking sauna.
Yeah.
May interact with vaccinated family and friends during team travel. May not leave team hotel to eat in restaurants. May not interact with anyone outside of team. You're literally making your job harder. And what are you doing it for?
Because I want to live life. I want to live life the way I believe it.
You're like, all right, cool story, Cole Beasley. You're so fucking tough. Play without a helmet.
Well, and that's fine. You know, again, if you don't want to get a vaccine, cool, dude. I'm not going to judge you on that. But
if I'm your teammate, I am going to judge you because I'm like, I can't do walkthroughs with Cole because Cole won't get vaccinated because Cole, blah, blah, blah. Now we can't do lobby, you know, pregame morning lobby sets. We talk about the fucking routes we're going to run. And we do little walkthroughs because he's got to live in a bubble because he fucking what? Because he what?
Yeah.
As his teammate, I'm annoyed. I'm like, bro, for what?
Well, look, to me, whether it's a football player or a celebrity or anybody, to me, I think the important takeaway for a lot of people is don't get your medical advice from these people.
I may die of COVID, but I'd rather die actually living.
See, that makes no sense. That makes no sense.
That's, bro, put that on his gravestone. I may die of COVID, but I'd rather die actually living.
You know, I just don't understand what that means. And then he
follows that up with, I have family members whose days are numbered. If they want to come see me and stay at my house, then they are coming regardless of protocol. What about like,
what is he talking about?
What about like, bro, I don't even know, but I know this isn't like, I know fucking, I want to see my grandma.
I don't understand it. Like, I just don't get it. How would getting the vaccine?
Well, you know, they would cover, like, he would never get open again because they'd be tracking him with the chip that they put in his brain. They'd be like, this is where he's going. We can read his thoughts. Bill Gates is like in a fucking, you know, in the Matrix going, he's running an out route. I'm reading his thoughts.
But that goes back. But that goes back to my point again, Joe. If 80% of the country ends up getting it, and something happens, then we're all in this boat together.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's not the reason to get it or not get it. I'm saying just the reason to get it and not say shit is just like, now you don't have to deal with all this protocol. And I know that's like the NFL is going to do that because they have to cover their own ass. They have protocol to cover their own ass. And we've talked about this with Kaepernick and whatever and blah, 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 blah. But like the NFL does what's best for them. They don't give a shit. They're just doing what is best for them so they can say we did this. But for me, if I'm Joe Prano, I'm a man on an island. I got vaccinated to go to Mets games. If I'm a part of a team, I'm getting vaccinated solely so I can talk to you without my mask on and be like, yo, fucking, I'm running it out on this play and like in the game, like do this and let's meet up. Hey man, come to my room so we can talk about some fucking plays.
I mean, Cole Beasley, dude, I don't know if you follow the whole tweet trend as far as the other thing. I got to read a couple more. Dude,
did he keep going?
Dude, he's quote tweeting. Somebody wrote, but what happens to the odds, Bees? I get the hesitation of the vaccine truly, but the idea that it's pointless is ridiculous. So he's responding to Beasley saying it's not pointless. This was Cole Beasley's quote tweet response to that. I didn't say it was pointless. Again, referring to getting the vaccine. Then he says, what does this mean? He says, if you want to get it done, then do so. I'm not encouraging you to not get it. Just let me live my life regardless of if get it or not. I don't want to die in a car wreck during the season without getting to actually live my normal life. What is that? What is he talking about? He's got CTE.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
I mean, I tweeted that.
Congratulations to Cole Beasley, grand prize winner in this week's episode of You've Got CTE.
You know, we're talking about a guy who's made his living as a slot guy who gets lit up going across the middle against 250-pound inside linebackers. What is he even talking about?
But also, how about this, Andy? How about this? And like, there's so many places to go with this. Like, first of all, who asked? Again, I'm not saying you shouldn't. Well, then what are you saying, bro? You didn't have to say anything. So, but then the other thing is, we're talking about it. The whole internet's talking about it. There's a tweet thread about it, right? Isn't this a media firestorm? I was told mediocre players that bring media firestorms are not allowed in the NFL. So as far as I know, he should be literally blackballed from the league.
Well, I think that's a stretch. I mean, he's a good player.
Right.
He had 970 yards last year.
Yeah. He's okay.
He's a good player. He's a good slot receiver.
He's a good slot receiver. But again, I'm once again here asking you for consistency. I've been told,
I mean,
you better be awesome if you're going to bring media attention to your locker room.
I don't agree with where you're going with this. I think it's different.
Don't? Why is it different?
Because you're talking about a player who hasn't played in 5 years.
But no. I'm not talking about a player hasn't played in 5 years. I'm talking about why the player stopped playing in the first place.
I think
I was told if you bring negative media attention and you're not a superstar, go fuck yourself.
I think this is apples to oranges. I think these are different situations.
Of course they're different situations, but I'm boiling it down to what the people who say it say, which is if you bring a whole media firestorm to our locker room and you're not Aaron Rodgers and you're not Patrick Mahomes, then get fucked.
Well, again, I don't really want to go down that route. I think that he has problems. That's my take on Cole Beasley. It's a game of troll, moron, or CTE, and it could be all three. You're a troll, you're a moron, and you have CTE. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. End of story. And the same for all these guys. You saw it from who just got traded to the Panthers. Why am I forgetting his name? Sam Darnold. Like, you're seeing it from like starting quarterbacks. What are these guys like? I just don't get your medical advice from a football player, just like you shouldn't get it from Alyssa Milano or name somebody.
I don't want any advice from Cole Beasley on anything. I don't even want my football advice from Cole Beasley.
He's a decent rapper, though. Okay, last story, and then we'll wrap up the show. No calls today.
Wrap it up. Yeah, no calls today. I gotta go hit the links.
Okay. Do you want to save the NCAA thing for next episode?
What is the NCAA thing?
It was a big ruling today. The Supreme Court ruled 9-0, which like never happens.
Never. A bipartisan ruling.
I mean, across the board.
Like on what? I don't even know. Dude, you know me.
Basically,
tapped out of college, everything.
Basically, it was a unanimous ruling that the NCAA, it wasn't 100% about pay for play, but the high courts basically ruled against NCAA on compensation. So it's going to set the precedent for future rulings, if that makes sense. Basically, today they affirmed that athletes can be compensated on future. Let's say the guy says, "Oh, I want to then go to grad school." That could be part of the scholarships, or I want to have an
education related benefits violate federal antitrust laws.
Yeah. So again, I know it's kind of dicey because it's legal stuff, and obviously I'm not a lawyer, but everything that I've read, Joe, says this has set the precedent, especially with a 9-0 unanimous ruling, is that this is going to set the precedent for everything else. Now all these lawsuits are going to come in, and the fact that it was so unanimous, not like the NCAA is fucked. And then the Kavanaugh, who wrote the majority opinion, which on behalf of everybody, the line that everybody's taking away is this. He says, nowhere else in America can businesses get away with agreeing not to pay their workers a fair market rate on the theory that their product is defined by not paying their workers a fair market rate. And under ordinary principles of antitrust law, it is not evident why college sports should be any different. The NCAA is not above the law. So it seems that there's a unanimous decision that the NCAA thinks they can get away with basically running around the law, and they're saying no. And the NCAA has already spun this from their angle of like, yeah, see, it doesn't say we can pay our players, but it's basically heading that route. So, as you like to do.
Bye forever.
Bye forever. I think the NCAA will, in the next 5 years, not be. Yeah.
Or as we know it, at least.
As we know it, I think this will eradicate the system. So anyway, there's that. Hotline 310-359-8365. If you have any questions on the NCAA ruling or need some legal advice, you can tweet at Cole Beasley, because I think he is going to have a better understanding. His Twitter is at BEASE11. At Bees11, he will answer any of your questions on the new NCAA ruling. So go to Cole for that.
What's inside your skull? Bees 11. There's 11 of them in there. They're flying around, buzzing. Lots of ideas. Follow me on Instagram at Joe Prano. Follow me on other social media at Joe Prano. Follow me on Twitter at Fix Your Life. Go to endcan.org, which I've talked about in a couple last episodes. And keep doing dirtball things, you dirty dirtballs.
I'll be getting those koozies out. Check your DMs. See if I followed you back on Instagram, especially on that platform, and I'll get those out. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting the show. We will be back in a few days. Have a great start to your week. And as always, stay